survival, I should say just horror game Ramble here today. I've talked about how I love survival horror games in general. I'm gonna talk just my kind of history with them, show some games. I've done a survival horror collection video in the past, but I've gotten more games since then. I would love to collect survival horror games, but some of them are fucking way too much money. Unfortunately. But I was coming home from work. I think it was on the train. I was just, usually that's when I respond to YouTube comments and stuff when I'm on the train coming home. But I was on Instagram actually, and I was going through people's stories. So one of the people I follow had showed Silent Hill 2 remake, and I was like, oh shit. That's right, I remember hearing something like Konami was going to have like a transmission thing on YouTube or whatever. I messaged them talking about it briefly, and then I was like, I gotta watch this. So I actually watched it earlier. It's Thursday today, I'm off, so I was like, I watched it honestly, and I'm pretty excited, honestly. Like, unfortunately, the Silent Hill 2 remake is a PS5 exclusive, so it's like, oh fuck. I was telling that person, I was like, oh yeah, I might have to get a PS5 for that. I don't know if I would. They did bring Akira Yamaoka back to do the music, so that's really cool. It looks cool. It looks nice graphically. The voices, James was doing his voice, and Mary as well, and they sounded better than the original voices, but the original voices had their charm and it almost fit the game. But these ones weren't like, they were like a nice kind of middle ground of how these people should be talking in terms of levels of like cheesiness and good, you know. Look kind of cool. The people who are doing it, Bloober Team, I think. They've done some survival horror games. I'm pretty sure they did the Blair Witch game. I thought that game was pretty cool, actually. The one that came out like 2 years ago, whenever the fuck, 3 years, probably 3 years ago. Not the ones that did the ones that were on PC. I have the first one of those, Rust and Bar, and I've talked about that. That was a creepy fucking game. They made 3 of those. And then there was some, the Silent Hill 2 remake looks cool. I don't know how it's going to work out. I mean, I don't know if I actually will get a PS5 to play it, but it doesn't matter because I could always play Silent Hill 2, the original, you know. But there's a Silent Hill Downfall. I thought at first when I saw it, I'm thinking Downpour in my head, but I'm like, wait a sec. I actually kind of like Downpour. But anyway, Downfall, there was a very quick thing. It was like a little, one of those old school, if you remember them, if you're old enough to remember them, or you just have come across them, no matter when you were born. The old little TVs they had with the tiny little TVs with the antenna you pull up and stuff, portable TVs. And it's a thing on there, and there's a voiceover saying some stuff, and it's just kind of going in and out. You know, not much in terms of, there's no gameplay there, but that seemed intriguing, as did the Silent Hill F. That, and the person was telling me about that one as well. Oh, no, they put another story about that one as well, and that one, they were saying, like, that one talks about, like, I think Japanese folklore and stuff, and the person, apparently, I don't know this person, but the person writing that game is, like, very well known over there, and all over, like, they've apparently written some really good stuff that people like, so that's encouraging. This was just like a cinematic trailer. It looked cool. It was creepy. It's like these weird flower things and all shit. I'm intrigued about that one. There's another one, Silent Hill Ascension. I think that's like a multiplayer type thing. I wasn't paying as much attention to that one. It was like a little people talking in like a chat and saying, "Oh, he's coming, run," and all this shit. And Christoph Gans is back. Return to Silent Hill. I think he's making another Silent Hill movie. The second Silent Hill movie I couldn't stand. I remember seeing trailers. I was like, I'm pumped. I saw the first trailer. I'm like, oh yeah. And then I saw more trailers. I was like, oh my god. And then I watched it. I was like, ugh. I did enjoy the first one enough in terms of like what he did, Christoph Gans did, and he didn't direct the second, I don't think. He had to look a Silent Hill down, so we know he can do that. Of course, they had to throw Pyramid Head in the movie because he had no bit like that. I'm not a crazy Silent Hill purist, but Pyramid Head belongs in 2. He does not fucking belong in Silent Hill Homecoming, and he's not belong in the Silent Hill movie that's based off the first game. They threw him in it, you know. I've watched that movie after I saw it in the theater, and that was 2006. It's crazy. I saw it twice I think, in the same day. At the theater, so much I boned to see Silent Hill. But the look was great. It wasn't a bad movie, but some of it, man, it could have been better. Like most fucking video game movies, it could have been better. For some reason, they don't like to fully follow the source material. They like to break off and do their own thing. Which I can understand, but some things you have to kind of keep. Video game fans are very passionate, we'll say. But anyway, there's some cool merchandise. They're making some cool figures. They're actually making the fucking dog from the Silent Hill 2 hidden ending when James walks in and the dog's controlling everything happening in Silent Hill. There's a Pyramid Head one, there's a James one, and there's a Maria one as well. And there's some skateboards. They just call them board collection. They didn't have trucks or wheels on them or anything. And some other stuff I saw too. I think, I was watching it, but I was kind of breezing through some points. I just wanted to kind of see the games. But I said the Silent Hill 2 remake looks cool, but I'm not like I was excited at first hearing about it, but I'm not as excited as this Townfall and this Silent Hill F because they're new properties. We all know Konami's fucking shit the bed over the past fucking whatever, maybe 10, 15 years. They seemingly don't give much of a fuck about games anymore, so hopefully this is a change for them because Konami's made some. If you go back to the NES era, Konami has made some fucking sick games, man. So hopefully they can bounce back. I mean, they were a fucking A+ developer back in those days. The Castlevanias and shit like that, Contras. And Metal Gear's been being made for a while, but the Metal Gears back then as well. And we're talking Ultra as well, because Ultra was the same company as Konami, but they had to use companies back in the NES days had to use fake names because you could only put out a certain amount of games under yours as a publisher or whatever. So all these companies come up with other names. Motocross Maniacs on the Game Boy. Konami's done a ton of good shit. But not over the past 15 years. They've not have many hits. They made the Turtles game too. I think they made all the back in the day. Did they make the Cowabunga collection? I think is them. I mean, it's all the ports and stuff, but that is them, right? Yeah, because they were doing all the Turtles games, so they've done a lot of good stuff. Let's hope they're back. But anyway, I'm not gonna go nuts about Silent Hill forever. But those two games look promising and they look different, and I'm like, okay, if you want to put the Silent Hill name onto something and kind of have it slightly inspire or incorporate Silent Hill stuff, that's cool. As long as the horror game's cool, I don't give a fuck. Silent Hill 4, The Room, was supposed to be something else, and then they just decided to say, fuck it, we're making it Silent Hill. As long as it's good, I don't fucking care what it's called. But yeah, survival horror games. My first introduction to them was probably, you could say, this is the game, this is the one I picked up a few weeks ago. Resident Evil was the director's cut, but this was the first one. The original was the first one that people were like, holy shit. I remember my friend was 2 years older than me. He was in college at the time, and this originally came out in 96. This is 97 maybe. And he's like, he would go to people. Someone had it in one of the dorm rooms, and people went in there and watching. They were like, holy fuck. They were like, their minds were blown by this fucking creepy ass fucking game. But there were ones before this. PC had a lot of games like that, Game D, and even they're kind of horror-ish games, like the fucking Sherlock Holmes type games, but not. There was stuff, if you want to consider Doom a horror shooter, which it technically is. I mean, the first Halo, in my opinion, is a horror shooter. It turns into a fucking horror game once the flood shows up. That's why that game's so fucking amazing. But this was the first, you're like, holy shit, you're playing as a character, you're walking around this big mansion and shit, people are losing their shit. And like I said, I didn't play this originally. 2 was I had played stuff like D. It was there was a vampire game on the PC back in in the late 90s, maybe in 98. And I have a PlayStation, so I couldn't play them. But then they ported 2 over the N64, N64, and I played that, and I was like, fuck, I heard of it. Because everybody was talking about it back then. I was like, Resident Evil, holy shit. And then 2 came out, holy fuck. Because a lot of people, that's their favorite one. But there were like PC games, like the kind of the point and click adventure. They were more like adventure type horror games. Even stuff like you can go back to the NES and like Shadowgate, the fucking point and click games like Shadowgate where your characters can die constantly and shit are were horror-ish games as well. And even like stuff like the Castlevanias and shit, they have horror elements to them. They're not like, oh my god, I'm scared, but like, I mean, if you're a kid playing those games, you're like 7 years old, you get back, oh my god. But even stuff like the Castlevanias and shit. So for me, yes, I played the Castlevanias, so I don't know if I would consider that an introduction because I wasn't looking at it as that back then. It had monsters and stuff, but it wasn't. It was more some of those PC games. But then I played Resident Evil 2, where I was like, holy fucking shit, it looked amazing on the N64. I don't even know how they got that shit to run on the fucking N64. Because they had to jam a lot into that cartridge. But I loved it. And then, after that, it was fucking... I'm trying to think. I did play Silent Hill. I played some of it when it came out, because I rented it, I believe. And then I never beat it at that point, and then I beat it a little bit later on. But like, for me, this game I played the remake on the GameCube, which was fucking amazing. I mean, that game, I know they've fucking now like up-res that and shit and HDified it, and it's on like 60 different fucking consoles now, but the fucking original GameCube one still fucking holds up, and so does Zero as well. Like that first Resident Evil, that GameCube one looked fucking amazing. Even, you have the still background, so it's easier to make those look good, but the character models still look fucking great. Then I dabbled into more Silent Hill with 3. Now, I did not play the first Silent Hill till like 2005. Once again, I had a PlayStation back then, I came across one. And like I said, I told that story. I was in this girl's basement, and I'm like looking around, and she had a top-loading Nintendo. The second Nintendo, they top-loaded Nintendo that not many people have. And the first NES, top-loader NES. And then this is the copy of Silent Hill 2, and I'm like, oh, you mind if I borrow this? She's just like, you can have it. I don't even know who it is. I'm like, okay then. And that one was creepy as fuck. You know what? Here's another introduction for me into Silent Hill, because I'm just thinking, because I did borrow the top-loader NES and gave it back. But I had Maniac Mansion on the NES, another adventure game, and this one's another one where you fucking, Maniac Mansion. Really cool game. You use different characters, has sick music, and your characters can get captured and get like thrown in the basement, but another horror-ish type game, It's a great game, by the way, Maniac Mansion. If you have a Nintendo, or you can just emulate it, play it. But then it was. I remember picking. I think I talked in that generation. I would like go through PlayStations and GameCubes, because I had the Xbox was like my solid system that lasted. I didn't sell it for years. But I had a bunch of PS2s. I bought a PS2 for Vice City, and then I got my second PS2 for Silent Hill 3. Only $40 that game was when it came out. And it came with the soundtrack. Another great game. Not as good as 2. Silent Hill 2 is probably my favorite game of all time. I fucking love it. I've talked about it in the past on this channel. Still, in my opinion, the best video game story in a video game ever. A lot of that game touches on a lot of themes, and it does most of them fucking right. But 3 was really good, and then, I put a pre-order. This is not my original copy, but I put a pre-order on a Silent Hill 4, The Room, and I enjoyed the fuck out of this one. I like this one better than 3. The story in this one's really good. Gameplay in these games is always, it's not great gameplay. It's almost not supposed to be. thing that was cool about these games, as opposed to Resident Evil, you're members of Star, usually playing as a badass, right? In these games, you are not playing as badasses, you're playing as regular people. You know, you got, it was Harry, right, in the first one. Henry Townsend in this one. What was fucking his daughter's name in 3? Harry's daughter, because Silent Hill 3 is a sequel to the first. You got James in 2. Fuck, well, why can't I remember her name? Damn it. But you play as her too. You're playing as a teenage girl. You're playing as a fucking, you know, a clerk, a fucking dad. You know, people that aren't, you know, gonna go in and start ripping shit up. Similar to the Fatal Frames as well. You're playing as fucking, you know, Fatal Frame 3. You're playing as either fucking teenagers or fucking people who are not fucking like, you know, I'm gonna rip it up, I gotta give me a shotgun, you know. But I pre-ordered this. I talked about this pre-order story, but not as much of a story, but they like tried to tell me at GameStop I didn't pre-order it. I'm like, here's the fucking receipt that showed you, idiot. I was getting pissed. And I'm not one for confrontation. I fucking hate it with passion. I'm like, fucking, I was getting, like, there are moments in my life where I will get into a confrontation. I was getting fucking annoyed. But this was a great game, great story. And this is the one that had the first-person perspective when you were in the room itself. And you go through a little portal in the bathroom, I think, or the laundry room, and fucking, you know, different places inside. That's when it usually takes you back to Silent Hill. You do not live in Silent Hill in this one. This is another great one. And then, for that franchise, it took a hit. Because after 4, they didn't make another one. Well, no, they did. They popped out, the one on the PSP was pretty good, Origins. Obviously, that was a prequel to the first one. That one was pretty good. I actually kind of liked that one. They had like a wannabe pyramid at the end of that one. Pretty creepy, though. I remember that was one of the games I played when I had a PSP. I played it and fucking completed it. I don't complete a lot of handheld games, admittedly. I liked Origins. The only Silent Hill I do not like is Homecoming. And Homecoming was trying to be more of the movie. Because I think the movie came out in 06 and Homecoming came out like 08. So Pyramid Head pops up in that one because of, you know, he's here and everybody bones over fucking Pyramid Head. Let's make some money off it. The game had the atmosphere down, but the gameplay was... This one, your guy, I'm pretty sure, was like a former soldier. So, okay, you have some experience and some skills, right? So you're not like the people in the older ones. You're capable. Right from the get-go, you know? But they try to add too much combat into it. It was fucking annoying. This game, Homecoming, to me, was like Dante's Inferno. That other game. I think EA made it. It was like a hack and slash type game. I would play it and be enjoying it for 20 minutes and then it would start annoying me like every 20 minutes. Homecoming did the same thing. And Homecoming had the creepiness down. It had a great fucking look. And the atmosphere was there, but the gameplay sucked. And the gameplay in the other ones is not necessarily good, but you don't come across a ton of combat in the other ones. This one was throwing more combat at you. You know, it's like, nope, that's not Silent Hill's strong suit. And I also enjoyed Downpour. I did a gameplay on my other Buried Under Cliches channel on Silent Hill Downpour. There was some cool parts. It was like a part where you go in a house and all of a sudden it turns into like a play type thing. I forget the name of that guy too, but you're like a former prisoner and the prison bus crashes or some shit, and you're in Silent Hill. I can't remember the full thing, but rain plays an effect when it rains. I think it's like worse. I gave that game, I had it on PS3, I gave that game to my friend. If I ever get a PS3 again, I need to borrow that from him and fucking play that again. It's not backwards compatible, I don't think, on the 360. Because that one was a pretty good fucking game. I like that game, I beat it. They did have a Silent Hill 4 Easter egg in that one. You like climb up a thing and all of a sudden you go and you hop in a window and it's the fucking room. It's got the chains all over the door. I can't remember a lot about it though, but I did enjoy it. There's also a part in the library that was interesting. But I love the Silent Hill series. Most of mine did. The only one I did not like was Homecoming, and I can't count. And Shattered Memories was alright too. That was a remake and a reimagining of the original, completely different. It was specifically made for the Wii, and then it came out on the PS2 as well. Mine came out on the PSP also, and that game all of a sudden is like fucking $150. But it did Wii Remote stuff, but it was completely different than the original. It was different, completely different vibe, but it was pretty cool. I actually played it on the PSP. I think. Did I play it on the Wii? No, I had it on the PSP. Because the Wii one incorporated the Wii Remote. You know, I watched a video, I think, on a Giant Bomb at the time. He used the fucking shit. The Wii Remote. Love the sound hills. But I also love the fucking Fatal Frames. And I'm pumped that they're putting out the fourth one. I hope it comes out physical, but whatever, if it doesn't, it's coming to Switch, though. To download, because that one never came out here. This is the third. I have not beat this one yet. When I first played the first one, I was like, this game, that game actually might creep me out more than the Silent Hills. The atmosphere in these fucking games was fucking fantastic, man. Use the camera. The thing in these games, use the camera obscura. You can take pictures of the ghosts, you get different film, stronger film. It's a fucking really good game. And it works like other survival games. And the combat in this is at least a little bit better because you have an actual thing you're using. So it goes into the first person mode when you're using the camera. This is a later title when this came out. The PS2's life, it doesn't fucking say. I want to say this is 05. This one brings back one of the people from the first one. You don't use them, but they're like your assistant or some shit, so they have experience with the shit that's happening. These games are creepy as fuck. And the games graphically also look very good. I might end up buying one of the two. I have two, and if I ever get another PS3 and I use my name, it should still have the shit I downloaded unless they shut down their stores, because I had Fatal Frame 2 on there. Fatal Frame 2's Crimson Butterfly. The first one's creepy as fuck. Both of them are. I mean, this one I played a little bit of, and it's also creepy. Maiden of Blackwater I have on the Wii U, and of course they put that one out later on the fucking Switch, because what fucking Wii U game didn't come to the Switch? That was a good one too. That was kind of interesting using the fucking Wii U gamepad as the camera and shit. And there were some cool things where you'd find VHS tapes in that one. I think it was that one. And you'd put them in and like play through like a fucking kind of scrambled thing. It was actually cool. But these games are creepy they're fucking creepy. At least for me, they are. Some people, that's the thing with survival horror games. Some people be creeped the fuck out by Dead Space. I'm not creeped out by Dead Space. I'm creeped out by this. Some people might not be creeped out by this. You know. Fatal Frames are great though. They're a little underrated too, in my opinion. Real quickly, in my opinion, speaking of underrated horror games, I love this game. The second one's good as well, but this one, Condemned Criminal Origins, this game is fucking awesome. This was one of my first 360 games. This is not my original one. When I first got a 360, I got it for Elder Scrolls Oblivion. I was like, I can't wait. I need to fucking get this system. I need to play Elder Scrolls. Because I think that came out like March of 06 or April of 06, Elder Scrolls, and that's when I got the system in April of 06. It was a little bit, like maybe a few weeks after the game came out. And then I had Cameo Elements of Power, which I played and kind of enjoyed, but I didn't beat it, and then I beat it later on. That's actually really a good game, but I ended up trading that in. I had a couple bucks, and I got this. It was my second game, and I was like, holy shit. This game is creepy as fuck. A little different too, because you're an FBI agent. This one, Ethan Thomas, is that a name? It should say it on here. Yeah, Ethan Thomas. You gotta find this killer. Fucked up shit's fucking going on. It's creepy as fuck. And this game had a few oh shit moments for me. There's like a part where you're in the subway and you're going by the stairs. All of a sudden you turn around and dude like throws you downstairs. I was like, oh shit. You can do this incorporated like this shit like this, like, you know, some investigation elements where you're like scanning shit and stuff. They did more of that in 2, Bloodshot. The second one's called Bloodshot. The second one has the part with the fucking rabbit bear, which is awesome. This game veers into the mystical, weird cult shit a little too much, where he uses like his voice to do this thing. Kind of took away from it in the second one. They kind of allude to it in this one, but this is just straight. You're pretty much an FBI agent going through creepy areas. You have this woman, like I guess, I don't know if she's your partner, but she also works for the FBI. You're talking with her and she's giving you info and shit. This game's got a creepy as fuck atmosphere. This game is fucking visceral, too. I think these are the same people who did, Dead Space, actually. Did they do Dead Space? No. Oh, what did these guys do? Where's their name? I want to... Monolith. They didn't do Dead Space. They did the Fear games, right? Fucking those first 2 Fear games are fucking great. I want to say these guys did Fear as well. The Fear games. I don't think they did said Dead Space. I do have it. I don't have it over here. I do have a Dead Space. I have Dead Space 3. I want to say it was the Fear games. But this game has like a brutal... You don't get much gun action in this. But you can pull pipes off the wall, bent rebar and shit. You're beating people. Fucking smacking people. Good hand-to-hand combat. Similar like a Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay. Really good game as well. Just really intense, in-your-face combat. Creepy atmosphere. Shit's happening fucking like, oh shit, you know. Even the second one's great because it's like a serial killer killing the mayor and shit. There's all types of shit's going on. This game's, if you have not played this game and you're into survival horror or horror games in general, get this game because it's creepy as shit. It has, I thought it looked graphically good at the time, but it has that weird, like shiny, almost plasticky look that some of those early 360 games had. But this Condemned Criminal Origins, it's just a fantastic game. And you got stuff like this, the visual horror stuff, you know, Deathmark and NG. This is Spirit Hunter. This would, on the Switch version, it would say it up here, Spirit Hunter Volume 1. There's a third one that's coming out in Japan. I hope it comes out here. I've said that like 20 times. This one is creepier than this one. Not a ton of gameplay in it, but you gotta figure out how to beat these like boss ghosts and shit. And you gotta do so. There's still some stuff that's like dialogue options and shit. But they're cool. If you get patient, they're really fucking cool. I have to beat this one actually. But once again, horror games, but they're a different style, right? It's not all just survival. I mean, technically you're surviving in all of them pretty much, but these are a little bit different, you know, and they're cool. I like these kind of games, actually. This game is, because we're playing this on the Vita, this game's actually creepy as hell. Like I said, at this point, you know, I kind of veered away from the games I was playing. I was playing the Fatal Frames. I would play the Silent Hills, the Resident Evils, and then there was other stuff like, you know, the X-Files, Resistor Serve was creepy as hell. Siren. I never got to play like Kuon. It's too expensive now. The Clock Tower games as well. Clock Tower 3 is the one I've played, and that's a cool, different game. You gotta run away and hide. I know the name of the girl in that one because it's Alyssa, because the one guy just keeps saying Alyssa. He's chasing you. And that game had some gruesome cutscenes with PS2 era. Gruesome cutscenes. The Thing, man. I need to get The Thing again. Obviously based on the movie. It's not based on it, but it's based on the movie, but it's not like you're not using characters from the movie. But I think it might be a sequel to the movie. I can't remember. Great game, squad based. So you have some people in your squad and they start bugging out. You gotta keep them calm. Who's the Thing? Cool combat in that game. That was a good game. That's another underrated horror game. It reviewed well, but I don't think it sold that well. And there was stuff like Obscure, which was cool, and even stuff like Hunter the Reckoning, which was like a Baldur's Gate or a Diablo top-down kind of thing, you know, dungeon crawler type horror game. I remember that game because I had it, and I was playing the shit out of it, and all of a sudden my Xbox started making a weird noise, and the game froze, and it never worked again. The game didn't, the system did. And this shit, like, I have some experience with the first one. Oh, what are they called? People have mentioned them before. Oh, God. The Suffering. And the second one's The Ties That Bind. You use a prisoner in that one, and that's actually... I remember playing the first one, and not all of it, but I rented it from Blockbuster. Cool game, but I never completed it, and then I moved on to other stuff. Those are probably fucking expensive now, too. There's a lot of stuff like the Rule Rose and Haunting Ground. I never played them, and they're probably like $300 at this point, if not more. Cold Fear, I played some of. That was on a ship, so that was cool, different setting. There's a game Extermination on the PS2. It was an early PS2 game that had, I want to say it was aliens or like creatures or something. It was the PS2 GameCube Xbox era was the shit. Eternal Darkness. How can I forget that on the Cube? That played with your psychological shit too. I remember when I first played it, all of a sudden, like, they would do weird little things in the game where you'd think the volume on your TV's going down, but it's not, it's just in the game. Or you would think your memory card was corrupted, it would tell you, like, what the hell? I think sometimes the controls wouldn't work out of nowhere. It was a really cool game that bounced back from, like, different time periods, I think. I'd love to get that game, but that's probably pushing $100 too. Geist was on the GameCube as well, where you possess people. You're a ghost and you possess all types of shit. And then they had, Resident Evil, the remake. They had Zero. They had Resident Evil 4, which is a landmark fucking game, in my opinion. Because they finally took it over the shoulder. You couldn't run yet and shoot. That came a little later. But that game was fucking awesome. Still was creepy. Unlike 5. In my opinion, 5 is an action horror game. And I love 5. But it's an action horror game. It is not creepy to me at all. 4 still had a bit of creepiness. I was never overly creeped out by the Resident Evils, but those first... I'd say the first 3 in Code Veronica had the atmosphere down, for sure. And there was still some good jump scares and stuff. It never had the creepy and dread that a Fatal Frame or a Silent Hill has. Here's another one that creeped me the fuck out. The Slender Man game, the first one they made, I think, on the PC. Where you just have to collect the pages, and the more you get, Slender Man's like fucking gonna get you. It fucking creeped me the fuck out, man. I had the second one, but I've not played much of it on. It's actually on the laptop. I think I actually have it on the Xbox as well. The Arrival, which is also very creepy. There's a lot of creepy stuff now, and a lot of these smaller indie games are fucking creepy as shit too, man. So you have them coming from everywhere, but in my opinion, the golden era was during this generation, because holy shit. You had the Silent Hills, you had the Fatal Frames, Resident Evil still pumping them out. You had stuff like Xbox didn't have as many. They had Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth. They had stuff like Still Life and Curse Eye of Isis, which are kind of point and clicky. But I actually have Call of Cthulhu, but it's on the PC and I can't play it because this thing doesn't take this. Actually, I wonder if my fiance's HP would play it. And you also have stuff like this now. The Dark Pictures Anthology, also Until Dawn, these guys made, and now they have The Quarry, which I need to pick up still. But these are in the point and click kind of vein. You make choices, you have a group of people, anyone can die. Everyone could die, no one could die, depending on what you choose and how you do things if you're quick enough. A lot of button presses in these games. They all look good. But this is that kind of horror game. It's like a point and click kind of, but you have more control. You're doing more stuff, but it's still in the point and click kind of vein, in my opinion. And a lot of button pressing and stuff. But these are cool. I have the 3. This one, Little Hope, and House of Ashes. Little Hope's my favorite, although I have not completed House of Ashes. And this one was good too. I still need to get The Quarry. I can't play Until Dawn because I don't have any PlayStation. But you even have this kind of stuff as well. This kind of horror game, which is cool. Interactive, maybe. I don't know. They kind of... No, I don't. And then, of course, you have the remakes they've made of, like, RE2 and 3. I like 3. A lot of people don't, but 3 is... They really changed it in 3. And it's not as good as this one. This one's fucking awesome, man. Holy shit. I've played through this game like 4 times. And you could use Claire and Leon, and it is different enough to worth play as both of them. And then they have the Mercenaries mode. No, it's not Mercenaries. It's the Ghost Survivors, which is cool. Actually, it's really cool. You play as people that died. Like, it'd be like random characters that are barely in it. And they died, but in this one they can survive and shit. It's cool. And the music's really good in those. But this is fucking awesome, man. I thought 3 was cool too, but it was way too actiony. And then you have this. this, for me personally, at least when I played, because I'm pretty sure Revelations 2, and I didn't find Revelations too creepy, but Revelations 2 is fucking creepy. But I don't know if that came out before this one, but I did play that after this. This is Biohazard Resident Evil 7. I like this one better than Village. Village is really good too, but this is the creepiest for me Resident Evil game ever. And they put this one into first person and it works. It works really fucking well. It's a really fucking cool game. And I also want to touch on, I mean, you want a fucking real horror experience. Holy shit. Get yourself a fucking one of the VR units. The PlayStation 1. I think Steam might have one. And the Oculus Quest 2. The Meta Quest, it's called. I still call it the Oculus Quest. Some of the games I actually have on there. Like I said, Resident Evil 4 on there was a fucking amazing experience. Holy shit. I did do a gameplay of it on here. I still need to get headphones that I could plug in with a mic so I can record from the headset with my voice and then throw that on to YouTube. It was such an amazing experience. But even like the Paranormal Activity game, creepy as fuck. Dread Halls, creepy as fuck, because it's right there. You're like, oh god. And Affected the Manor was cool as well. There's a few other ones I want on there. The Twilight Zone one. Exorcist After. No, maybe it's just called. Is it called Exorcist Afterlife, or is that a different one? Yeah, they have an Exorcist game on there. It looks creepy. I want to see more horror stuff because that plays right to the VR. Oh my god, it works like some. You're like, ah. The only thing that sucks, especially with Resident Evil, because that's a full game. Like Paranormal Activity was short, very short. A lot of them are short, but Resident Evil's an actual full game. Just poured it over, and it was I don't know what the hell this noise is. That's fucking outside. And there's so much going on with Resident Evil 4. Like, but the thing is, you can't play it for long periods because your eyes start feeling weird. Your head starts to fucking hurt and shit. That's one downfall, but that's an amazing experience. If you have VR and you haven't played Resident Evil 4, I think Resident Evil 4 is only on the Oculus Quest. If you have an Oculus Quest, just play it. I'd recommend Paranormal Activity as well. And Dread Halls is cool. It's also Affected the Matter. I don't know what that noise is, but it's actually really annoying. But yeah, these are some games. I've missed a lot of horror games. Like I said, there's a lot of smaller ones like that. Phobia, the Hotel, the Delfino Hotel. One that I picked up, Call of Cthulhu, was really good. Evil Within 2 is a fucking underrated one. That's a fucking amazing game. I've not played all of the first one, but the second one is definitely better than what I played of the first. What else is there? I think the indie developers actually help keep that genre going. The Bloober team also did Medium as well, I think. Something like Plague Tale Innocence was a horror-ish game. Really cool fucking game as well. The Dead Spaces are all fucking great. I like 3 as well. 1 and 2 are fucking amazing. But those for me are more action, but they're creepy and they have the atmosphere, but I don't get necessarily dread from them. What else is there? There's a lot of other stuff. There's so many. Especially if you look on, I look on Steam, and there's just endless amounts of them. Even the Switch has a ton. That game of Kai on the Switch is cool. That's a lot of the ones based in folklore and shit. What was I just had another one in my head. I forgot the fuck it is. But yeah, I could talk about horror games. I love them. I just love them. I love being creeped out. It's just the best horror experience because you're controlling the character, or if you have the headset on, you're literally the fucking character. But I love it. It's different than a horror movie because you're like, I gotta turn that fucking corner. Oh god, I love horror games in general. They're just fun. That's a shit ton I haven't played. If anybody has any recommendations for any, I know the Beast. You can get a lot of the downloadable ones like Layers of Fear. I played some of that. Was really creepy. That might have been another. No, that wasn't Bloober Team. That might have been the people who made Or was it them? Or is it the ones that are doing the Silent Hill Temple? Whatever. You know, there's that. There's another one I saw, Don't Knock Twice. I must pick that up because it was cheap on sale on the Xbox. That seemed cool as well. Made of Skur. I say that was a cool one I played. That was on the Xbox. It's on probably Steam and PlayStation as well. It might actually, I think it's on the Switch now too. That was a cool one as well. That had also the runaway kind of vibe too, which I like that sometimes. You know, like that's how shit I gotta hide and shit. It's not all about fucking destroying everything, blowing people up. But yeah, this ended up being a 40-minute ramble on survival horror stuff, and I love talking survival horror. And I'm sure I've forgotten some of the own games I have as well, but yeah, you know, thanks for checking this out, and just tell me some of your favorite survival horror games, and have a nice day.